Okay, welcome to our Transaction Tuesdays webinar series. Today's title, Be Aware, Operate with Care. We're going to talk about how operational awareness through real-time data can help banks and FIs run better and avoid those costly glitches that put us in the newspapers. My name is Marc Borbas. I'm the VP of Global Sales for INETCO, and I'll be taking you through today's session. So the big problem that we're going to focus on today is one that is near and dear to the hearts of anyone who's been on an IT operations team in a bank. Customers, unfortunately, often know about transaction slowdowns and failures before you do. And when they do, this can cause a lot of issues, everything from bad press all the way through to help desk escalations and long bridge calls, and it can be a really difficult and challenging way to run a business. And the challenge as well is that these transaction problems are getting harder than ever to spot and isolate, because often no single person in a bank really understands end-to-end how a business transaction works. And so you make a change in one place and it often ends up having a ripple effect somewhere else where you would least expect it to occur. And when things do go wrong, it can take hours, sometimes days, to get to the root cause of the problem, and you have to pile on a lot of resources and a lot of experts to try to dissect your way through things. So what if instead you could get continuous visibility into every business transaction and get real-time awareness of issues? In other words, really stay on top of things. So could you shift from a reactive stance that frustrates customers and puts you in the press to a proactive stance that delights them and keeps all of those issues out of the public eye and really just keeps you focused on running the systems that you need to run? So the answer is yes, and we're going to talk about how to do that. So what INETCO offers is real-time transaction monitoring, alerting, and applied business analytics software. And we have specific use cases around operations that are designed to answer some of the really compelling questions you've got, like, why are certain customer interactions not completing? Where do I have slowdowns, bottlenecks, or failure points in a complex business transaction? Where do I have performance blind spots and risks that seem to occur under certain conditions and certain load volumes, and how do I actually get those out of the system and know I've got them out for good? And how quickly do I actually need to respond to an incident? Because yes, we may have issues, we may have problems, but they may only affect a very small portion of our customer base. It may be limited to a particular geography that happens to be asleep right now. All those different dimensions can help you decide exactly how to escalate an issue and what resources to put on it and how to be as effective as possible. So what makes our solution unique compared to most other ways of doing this is the way that we capture the data. So we capture the transaction data off of the network as these transactions are flowing in real time. So you don't have to modify your application. You don't have to instrument it in order to get at this data. This isn't some big custom integration project. This is a software deployment effort where we capture the transactions and analyze them on your behalf and give you visibility into all those data points in your system. This also gives you a consistent data source across channels. So you may have different ways of monitoring across channels. This gives you one way to monitor business transactions in different channels and ones that cross channels. And one point to collect data that can actually be useful for a variety of different constituencies within the organization. So today we're talking about IT operations, but we could also be supplying this data to channel management or to the fraud team to help them do their jobs better and get the transaction visibility they need. So let's have a look at a couple of screenshots on how you can get better operational awareness with INETCO. That first question, how are customer interactions performing across channels? Well, we can visualize that in real time and see how transactions are flowing, whether they're not flowing, whether they're slowing down or failing at different points in a transaction process. We can also help you understand what are the issues that you need to pay attention to by configuring alerts in the system, and then you just sit back and we'll tell you when things are actions. And finally, when you want to drill right down, you can figure out exactly what happened to a specific business transaction, whether that's one that's happening right now in real time or whether you want to walk back in time and use this as a time machine to see what network activity was happening, what was happening at the application level, what were all the messages and response codes that were exchanged. You can drill into all that gory detail within our product. As you can imagine, based on this description, a lot of our users are high-volume payment processors, large banks, merchant acquirers, credit unions. But really, it's anyone who's concerned about that end customer experience and wants to be able to understand what's going on in real time. There's two quotes here from two of our customers who are really pointing out the value of getting this additional visibility at the transaction level. Now, these are companies that we're monitoring very well at the device level, at various software stack levels, but what they lacked was that view into the end-to-end transaction, and that's what we were able to bring to the table. Now, the way you win is you can say goodbye to those old reactive models that put you into a constant fire drill, that cost you a lot of money, that put a lot of expensive resources onto issues, and ultimately, if you're not lucky, put you in the press. And take a proactive stance where you're dealing with these issues as they're unfolding, you're prioritizing, you're handling them in an efficient way. So if you'd like to learn more about how real-time data and operational awareness can help you prevent those nasty glitches that put you in the press and frustrate your customers and your internal staff, please contact me. I'd be happy to arrange a demonstration and get a lot deeper than we got. Thank you very much.